Hello and welcome to Conversations. I am your host, Melanie Mack, and I'm so happy to be back with you today. I am always excited as usual. I have a wonderful guest in studio with me, the lovely Cindy Fernandez Nixon, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. But before we get started, I want to thank my sponsor, Dare to Be Noticed Beauty Salon, located in the lovely city of Inglewood. Shout out to my brother Marlon and all of the stylists there. And also Black Cooperative Investment Fund for those that are looking to start a business, or if you have an existing business and you're looking for microloans, check out bcifund.org, bcifund.org, and it's a wonderful organization. It can really build your business. I suggest you check it out. And there are always rolling applications. So Cindy is in the house today.
Hi.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi.
She is a Dominican-American actress, producer, voiceover artist, TV, radio host, and spokesperson. She began an acting career and dancing career at the age of 6 in the DR, participating in numerous ballet theater productions such as Snow White, The Little Mermaid, A Midsummer Night's Dream, etc., etc.
Yes.
She'll get into that. After moving to New Jersey at 13, she focused on her academics, receiving a BS in mechanical engineering from the New Jersey Institute of Technology. But she always remained close to theater and continued her theater pursuits. Upon graduation, she relocated to Pittsburgh, of all places.
Right?
She has such a crazy story. She enrolled at the University of Pittsburgh, where she obtained an MS in industrial engineering and served as a mentor for various community initiatives related to the STEM field and the entertainment field. I would like to welcome my friend and new to Los Angeles, Cindy Fernandez Nixon. Welcome.
Well, thank you for such a nice introduction. It's like the very most complete introduction I've had in years. So I really appreciate that. And it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's so fun having you. So now you're new. You're literally new to LA. Just moved here in August, right?
Yes. So maybe 3 months.
Crazy. So how are you loving LA?
Oh, I love everything about it. I don't love the driving. The driving is terrible. I think people, it's a whole different topic. But I love the fact that, up until maybe a week ago, it was when I started seeing my friends from back in like New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. They're like, "Oh my God, it's freezing," and I'm like, "Oh, it's 70s."
Like, it's a warm 70. I just got back from New York and it was so cold, but I love the cold weather. It was about 38 degrees and maybe 27, 26 at night. But I loved it. It's so much fun. I was visiting my firstborn, and as Lee, who's in studio with us, will tell you, he was, I'm sure, ready for me to leave. He was ready for Mom to leave so he could get back to his New York life.
I don't know. The story you were telling me is like, when I was in college, I'm like, if my parents came to visit me, I don't know. It would have been a little rough to get by on that weekend. Yes. But, at that age, you're pretty mature and you realize what's really important.
That's so true. Very true.
Yeah.
So tell me about your journey from the DR to Pittsburgh to Los Angeles and your career as an engineer.
Oh, well, it's a lot. So I'll sum it up with, even though I come from a very old school, strict household, where anything in the arts was like, oh, yeah, it's cute. It's a cute hobby. It's, oh, yeah, but you're really not going to make money out of that. So, you got to go to school and be a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, anything that, it's a guaranteed boring job. I mean, guaranteed money maker. So, I was always really good in school. And but I always liked the TV and radio. So when I was little in DR, I already knew I wanted to be a communicator. I wanted to be an entertainer. But my mom had this rule. She said, if you don't do well in school, you can never do anything else outside. So I had to be good in school.
Right.
When we moved to the States, because, the following the dream, everyone comes here to have a better life. They said you better take advantage of your academics and focus on your academics, and then being in the art and in the entertainment industry is going to cost you money. There's a lot of people that are bad. They're going to chase you. You're too young. We don't have time for this. We have to work. All the excuses in the world. So I said, I'm going to focus on getting an education so that I can pay for my own stuff in the entertainment industry. And that's what I did.
Understood.
So I went to college, and like people ask, like, why engineering? Like, it's totally
why engineering?
You know what? Engineering is like the best backup plan I could have.
Okay.
Because if I say, well, you know what? If I get tired of being an actress and I'm making all this money, my backup plan, it's gonna be just as good as a moneymaker. If not better, because right now it was way better. It was way better. But it's a good, stable backup plan.
Yes.
And I feel like I felt some type of, I don't know, I feel some pride on being a woman that was striving in such a man-dominated field. It was rough.
Of course. Talk about it. Walk us through it.
Well, the first 2 years, we would share classes with architects and some people that were art majors, like history or writers and etc. But once we got into the hardcore of engineering, like physics and the advanced math and anything else that you can think of, the classes started to get smaller. And I ended up being the only girl in class for about I did an extra year, so for 3 years.
Okay.
And there were times that the professors will be like, hey, are you in the right class? Like, are you lost?
Oh, come on.
Oh, yeah. It was, yeah. Yeah. And then there were professors that they would challenge you and say, if you get an A in every quiz, then we exonerate the final exam. So I would be the one to go and get an A on every one.
Right.
And then I would have to remind them, like, hey, I'm one of the ones that doesn't take the final exams. And they would get really mad. So I had a professor the next semester that he would do that. And the first thing he did when I walked into the classroom, he said, this class is not going to be as easy as the last one. You're going to take that final. I was like, oh, okay. Okay.
Piece of cake. I got this.
Right. And I did take the final, and I did get a good grade, but, it was rough on that end. But also, as a girl around a lot of geeky guys, there's always someone to help you do the homework. It's like, I really don't get this. Can you explain it to me? Can you do it with me? Can we study together? And they would. They were a little awkward, but they would study with you. So that was the experience in college. And then in graduating and going into the world of, the corporate world, it was as a young woman of color that speaks a different language, so like an immigrant, and in an engineering field, a lot of the times, I started to escalate. I got a master's so that I can move up the ladder quicker, and I had people walk out of meetings and say, "I don't think you have any credibility, so I don't have to sit here and listen to you," or "I don't think you know what you're talking about." So it's really hard.
It's shameful. It's shameful that those things continue to exist.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so hard because when you have gone through so much, you are already ready to fight no matter what.
Right.
And it's even harder to be the bigger person and say, well, you know what, if you have any issues with my credentials, please bring that up to my manager. But right now, if I have this job, it's because I do have the credentials and we do have to work together. So, like, I was shaking these meetings. Like, I was shake because in the back of my mind, I was jumping across the table and slapping the crap out of them, for talking to me like that. But I'm like,
right.
Keep it together because you work to fit in so much. It's like, and then I'm such a entertaining person that, like, it was hard to be around all these people that are just monotone and, very, like, 2 + 2 is 4. Yeah, we know that. Go home now. It was cool. It was cool. But yeah. So at some point, I just got tired of doing the engineering. Not tired, but like it was ready. I couldn't do anything else but act.
Wow. Now, when I met you, we met at the Women's Collaborative Colloquium.
Yes.
And this gorgeous woman here, you were on the media panel.
Yes, I was.
And I can't remember if we had an opportunity to actually talk, but I said this to you before when we were at brunch that, Cindy was very stoic and just, talking about the business. And then I go on her IG feed. I was like, who is this crazy woman? I mean, so talented, so incredibly talented. I mean, you were talking about business things there.
Yes.
But your feed with your family and just things that everyone can relate to, especially mothers and professional women, is just hysterical. And I thought, gosh, it was just such like a 180 from my meeting you. So you went into acting and you moved to LA. What has that experience been like for you?
I think it's been amazing. It's been lonely. It's been challenging. It's made me question several times, like, man, I could be, living well and in a very good engineering salary, and why this is crazy. Like, you wake up and days you feel like, why am I doing this? Why would I'm 31 years old. Why would I now, after 2 kids, want to do this? And then it quickly comes back to me, like, because whatever I'm doing with my life is what I want my kids to learn to do with theirs. And, I learned from my mom to be persistent, to be a hard worker. And I also learned things that I shouldn't do, like is give up your dreams.
Right.
And, so every example is a good example. So I feel like, for my, for my career and moving to LA, and being in I'm a little fish in a big pond. In Pittsburgh, it was the opposite. I was like one of the few Latinos.
Okay.
So every time they needed a Latino, let's call Cindy, because, we all knew each other. Here, it's very competitive. Here, people are not trying to be your friend. And I had to adjust my mind to that. And, at the end of the day, I feel like, okay, so how miserable am I going to be if I do something other than acting? And it brings me right back.
Right.
So I think it's early, so I'm still going back and forth. But will I move? No.
You said that quickly.
No, this plan to move to LA has been in the works for probably 8 years.
Okay.
So it's here. It's happening.
It is definitely happening. So how are you juggling just family life with your husband and your kids? I mean, the videos give us a snapshot of that. But seriously, how are you juggling that? Because, as professional women and mothers, we all know how difficult it is, no matter what career you choose. And I'm at a different stage than you. My children are a little bit older. I have teenagers and one in college, and so that shifts into a different kind of parenting.
Yes.
But when you have little ones like you, that is tough.
It's rough. It's rough because moving here was a lot of new things for all of us. They had never been in school, so now they're in school, which you would think would give me a little bit of free time. And that's like the shortest time. From 10 to 3, I don't know, but my time just flies. I'm like, oh, I worked out. Oh, it's 3:00.
It's time to pick up the kids.
Yes. So balancing, I'm still finding the way to do that. But I think that the key is that I bring my family into everything I do. It can be separated, but in order for me to balance, I have to mix.
Yes.
So the videos that I do, I say, well, I'm going to be an entertainer and I'm going to entertain you with the things I know. And what do I know? I know how to struggle as a mom. I know how to not sleep through the night. I know how to forget a doctor's appointment. I know how to run around the house looking for a pony, So, and then my husband, he's extremely supportive, so I think that is the main factor. That's the main factor of it all. The balance is because he understands that it's difficult, and he understands that it's a transition, and he also understands that I will not stop until I do it. And he doesn't stand in my way. He's like, I'm just going to be here for whatever you need me, except videos. He hates being on my videos.
I don't know if I've ever seen him in a video.
Oh,
Is he holding the camera?
Maybe once or twice.
Okay.
But every time I do like a Snapchat video of him, he's like, yeah, can you not do that? I'm like, babe, you look miserable. People are going to think you're miserable. He's like, well, I'm happy. with an older
This
face.
is my happy face.
And it really is. It really is. Like, he's not very emotional with his face. So he's like, I'm enjoying myself right now. And that's all he does, like straight face. And I was laughing because with the balance, I have to find time to sometimes cook, be healthy. So when I cook, I don't like cooking. Let's just put that out there. So when I cook, hey babe, was the food good? And he's like, it was cool. It was cool.
Wait a minute. Like, I need a cartwheel. I need a backflip or something when I'm cooking.
I need you to say it was good. You know, I'm going to take some of this to work tomorrow because it was that good. But he's just, it was cool. It was cool. So, whatever. I just keep cooking because, you know. You're just a hater.
Oh, that's so funny. There's one video that you have where you're calling your mom for a family recipe.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. And your mom is going on, and you're going, yes, mom, yeah.
Oh, that is a very, all of my videos are actual things that have happened to me. Sadly, but it's funny because it happens to everyone. We just don't talk about it.
Yes, we don't talk about it.
Yeah. But for everything, I actually just recorded a video today, you know, and I'll tell you real quick what it is about. But it's essentially, we believe as moms that our moms know best.
Yes.
So if, you know, my husband says, oh, the kid is sick, we need to take her to the doctor. And I'm like, no, we take care of this at home. Let me call my mom. And then if my mom says, take her to the doctor, I'll be like, oh, that's what we need to do. Like, what are you talking about? Why didn't we do this before? Because our moms are everything. You know,
Yes.
that's like Bible right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I feel the same way about my mom. And I mean, I still, to this day, I call her for everything. So
Yes.
especially if it's, some sort of important decision, or if I'm just trying to weigh something and I want to get her feedback, I still call her. And she gives the best advice, just such sage advice. Talk to me about, I guess, just how, one, I say that you're one of the best editors I've seen online because of the ninja video that you have of you putting the kids to bed and then just wanting to get up in the middle of the night and I think get a glass of water is hysterical.
Oh, yes.
So how long does it take to create these videos? And then why are you making the videos?
Well, I learned in Pittsburgh that when you get to a place and you're no one really knows about you, you need to create your own opportunities. Everywhere you go, you actually have to create your own opportunities. So in Pittsburgh, I created a radio show because there were many Latinos. So that was kind of like a thing that we needed. So I said, well, I'm going to do that for the community. Coming here, there isn't really anything that LA doesn't need. So I said, well, what do I need? What do I want to do? And there's a lot of people that I follow, that I'm friends with on social media that do a lot of these funny videos. And I said, well, I can try and do them. But something felt weird to me about them. And it was because it wasn't Cindy. It was what I thought other people wanted to see. And then when I said, well, I'm going to do this because there's a big market for people that are young with the dating problems, with the, school problems, with the friends problems, and all these videos that are relatable. But not many moms are out there. And as moms, we always have this bar that we're always aiming to hit.
Yes.
And this bar that no one hits. And the fact that it's
But they pretend that they're hitting it.
Right. They pretend that they're hitting it. And my thing is that, like, a lot of people approach me and they're like, oh my God, you seem like you have your life together. You seem like, everything is in place and you seem so happy. And I'm like, well, really, my life is not too different from yours. So let's just laugh about it together, And so I started making the videos because it was a way for me to express my art and at the same time relate to an audience that doesn't really have anyone out there. Because when you think about it, moms that are busy are not really making videos because they're busy. So to answer your question, so that's why I started making them, because I feel like there's a need for more moms out there to see that they're not the only ones struggling with their baby crawling into bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and they're already like 3, they should be in their room.
Yes.
Why do you think I have these very nice bags? And then we judge ourselves, or we're afraid of like talking about it. So it's good to have this, let's laugh together. we are all screwed up together, and it's okay because there's no perfect mom. How long do they take? It depends on my vision. So there's some that I just like, shoot and I'm done, and it's just one take. The ninja one, I did probably in one night, maybe a couple of hours, because I had my husband hold the camera for 2, and then the rest I just placed the camera in different places, but everyone was asleep.
Okay.
So that one didn't take me as long, and again, it was my vision. But there's another one that I did with, how you're trying to talk on the phone, but you have kids, and you're in the kitchen, you're in the living room, you're in the bathroom, you're in the stairs, you're in the closet, and they find you.
Yes.
That one, to film it, it took me nothing, but to edit it took me a little longer because in my mind, I didn't know how to relate it. So I did a little intro and an outro to it. And I said, instead of being like how moms struggle talking on the phone, is what people don't know about people that have kids talking on the phone, because I hated talking to people that had kids.
Yes. It's so funny that you say that, because my friends that didn't have kids at the time, they'd call me and want to have a conversation about everything under the sun that's going on in their world. And I'm cooking and trying to do homework and answering questions. Why this, mommy? Why?
Yes.
And there you can hear that they're irritated on the other line. Like, why can't you just focus on me? I need your attention. I'm thinking, you don't get it.
Yeah.
You're just, you're not a mom. You just don't get it.
Yeah.
I can't just give you my, undivided attention.
And even if you're trying to give them your undivided attention, you just can't, because everything can be quiet. But when the phone rings, here comes a baby. Here comes the other baby. And you're like, where were you? Like, weren't you napping? Like, please get off of me. Because, hi, I want to say hi. Who are you talking to, mommy? What's going on? Mommy, I'm hungry. Mommy, I got to pee. Mommy, come with me, mommy.
Right, come with me.
No, we're not doing a pee party. Like, literally, we're not, no.
My mom always tells a story about with me being a child, and she said, sometimes a girlfriend would come over or something, and I would have, I was always in the conversation or listening somewhere. And so she, talked to a girlfriend or something, and she said that I would come in and say, "No, mommy, you didn't say that. Actually, you said." Actually, and she was like, "If you don't get it."
Oh, I was that kid too.
Get out of this conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, no, mommy, you said this about this situation, And so she was like, oh, that was so irritating.
Oh, yes. But, making one of the videos, actually, the one that I was looking for, I literally do lose my phone when I'm on it. It doesn't happen as often as it happens to my sisters, because they've been moms longer than me, so they lose it more often. But as I'm making the video, I'm on the phone and I'm talking off camera, saying like, hey, babe, have you seen my phone? And my daughter was sick of me saying the same sentence. So she goes, mommy, it's right there. You're on the phone. And she said it so loud that the camera caught it. And my reaction was just like, okay, I gotta go. Like she just gave me the best line.
Yeah.
And I was like, but that goes with the fact that she's always listening. And she's like, mommy, what are you talking about? Like, are you lost?
Yes. Yeah, just in the conversation, which is, too funny. So, are you planning to make your home Los Angeles? Or?
Yes. See how quick that came? Yes. I love it. I feel like it reminds me of Dominican Republic weather-wise. It reminds me of New York, New Jersey culturally. And then it has what I want to do. It's a very challenging place, but I love it. I think I'll be here for a while.
Okay, so I have to go back to your engineering career.
Yes.
This woman is an engineer. And she's just multi-hyphenated. She does so many things. And does them very well. So for those women that are interested in pursuing that kind of career, you've talked about some of the challenges. What kind of advice would you offer to them, just in terms of going to school, pursuing certain companies, and building a career, building your base? Because you've done that. You've retired from that.
Yes, I know.
Which is amazing. What kind of advice would you share with them?
Well, going into any career in corporate America is challenging because you have to play the game. And by playing the game, I mean is that you have to know the rules on how to interview, how to present yourself physically as a woman so you're taken seriously. And I mean, like, even down to like showing too much cleavage can kill you. But I think that you just have to switch your brain to where networking is key and finding organizations that would help you. Like for me, the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers helped me so much.
Okay.
Because I would go to their career conferences and I would learn about how to interview, how to do the elevator pitch, how to dress for success, how to, deal with difficult situations at work. And it takes a while. Don't give up. And especially in the male dominated fields, you want to remember that society is slowly changing, not as fast as we want it to be, but stick to stick your ground, stay your track, and you'll be fine. And oh my God, there's so much pride when you could say like, I can do this.
Yes.
Like I could say I'm an engineer, and that's like, people think it's hard. It's really not that hard, but
it's not difficult for you.
There's pride in doing it. It's difficult, but it has an end. It has an end. So just stick with it and make friends, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And there's tons of information. Like back when I was in college, all these YouTube videos on how to dress for success, everything, right? Didn't exist.
Yes.
It didn't really exist.
Right.
So now there's so much out there. So much. And I mean, I'm always welcoming people to ask me questions about this, because even writing your resume is such a big deal. And like, don't make it pink. We know you're a girl. It's okay. Especially in engineering, don't make it pink, because sexism is real.
Yes, it is.
Is very real, because I was removed from projects because the people didn't want to deal with a woman. So it's real. Ageism is real.
Yes, it is.
Racism is absolutely real.
Yes.
And, overall, you just have to learn to read that little by little. But I don't think it's that bad, and it's very gratifying. So fields that I would recommend would be medical. When I loved in the medical field, it was amazing.
Okay.
I would recommend consulting, like Accenture, is it?
Accenture. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They, I have friends that work with them. I never work with them.
It's a great company.
I hear that it's a great company if you like to travel. But overall, many different careers can be challenging. Engineering can be very challenging on its own, but it's totally doable. Totally, totally doable. And like I said, there's many researchers out there, organizations that are focused on women. There's a Society of Women Engineers.
Okay.
There is the National Society for Black Engineers. You don't have to be Black to be in that one. You don't have to be Hispanic to be in the Hispanic one.
Okay.
And they do conferences every year in different states. It was like my little vacation as a broke college student. I would go to I came to LA. I'm like, I'm going to the conference. And it was a good way to have my mom pay for my little stay in this different city. But you meet so many people from different places, and, you get to network. So it's cool.
There was something, you mentioned dressing for success and like the pink resume and, those kind of, which, we would think it's common sense. But, common sense is not so common, as my mother says. But I saw something that was posted on your Facebook feed, and I'm so glad that I'm now aware of it, because I was like, oh, I have to support this. But there's a woman who is a meteorologist in Dallas, Demetria, and I didn't even know this was going on, but that she was catching so much heat.
Yes.
For being a curvy woman and her dresses, and smart woman.
Very smart.
And just getting so much hate. What's going on with that?
And I think that that's a prime example of, and it was a girl on girl hate too.
Yes.
And, I think that was, I don't even know which ism that is, but if she was I'll call it stereotypical, for lack of a better word, but the stereotypical weather woman, not distracting at all, to the common mentality of a society. So I don't understand why. I mean, can she look? I mean, she looks amazing.
Yes.
And the first thing I saw, my husband was like, "Oh, look, they're talking so much about her because she has curves, and she's on TV, and this woman's saying that she's distracting." Well, I was just happy about the fact that I'm like, and she wears curly hair. Because,
yes.
dress for success and all those things, even your hair and how you wear your hair can impact how serious they take you.
Absolutely.
So when I was an engineer, full-on engineer, my hair would always be straight. Always. And for some reason, it's like you can be professional and wear curly hair. Like, it makes no sense. It's starting to change.
Slowly. At a snail's pace.
Yes. But, the fact that she is a professional woman, she is not dressed provocative.
Right.
She is dressed well. She just has curves to her. She wears them proudly. And she's like, her hair is not crazy either. It's just curly. So I just think it's so funny because someone wrote a comment saying like, this person's probably sitting on the other side wishing they were her, because that's how people hate what they can't have.
Right.
And I don't even know how to say, like, it's just, she's dressed for success. But if this person that left a comment would have been someone above her, she would have lost her job.
Oh, absolutely. Unfortunately, it makes me think about too. You were saying she's a beautiful woman, brilliant woman. Clearly, I checked out her Twitter and just reading some of the comments and her response to them, and I thought she handled it very well, and the support that she's getting. But it also made me think about years ago. I don't know if you remember with Jennifer Lopez when she wore that green dress to the Grammys.
Yes.
Everyone knows that green dress. Gwyneth Paltrow wore that dress,
but no one cared.
No one even
remembered. And
remembered.
It's not like J-Lo has like a lot of stuff to show. J-Lo is J-Lo. So,
but I mean, Gwyneth Paltrow had worn that dress a few years before,
and she has a little bit more to show,
and no one talked about it.
Right. So again, who are the people that are talking about it?
Right.
It's like, let's turn to see who is really attacking and who's really complaining, because the people that think that they look good, they're not complaining. They're not complaining. And it's I think is the resistance of the old school American culture trying to hold on to what was there. But in 20 years, everyone's going to be mixed. No one's really from here right now. But let's say no one's really going to be here. There's going to be, you're not going to be able to track where you're from because you're going to be so mixed. And I think it's beautiful. But, I think that my age going forward, like even back in the Dominican Republic, we had this pride with our Spanish background, but we didn't really like take pride on our African background.
Okay.
We were aware of it, but we didn't like bring it out as much. And we would never refer to ourselves as Afro-Latinos until my generation came around and we're like, yeah, this is not from Spain. Our dance is not from Spain. So I think my age group moving forward is taking so much pride in being mixed and embracing everything and bringing out what's best of it. And I think that meteorologist is part of that group.
I agree.
We don't care. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Talk about transitioning too. Now, for women that are working in the private sector, public sector, and they want to transition into something that they are truly passionate about. Not saying that they're not passionate about the corporate world,
right,
and other things, because there are women that absolutely love what they're doing. But to make such a leap as you're doing,
yes.
You're in the process of this. What kind of encouragement would you give them? Because that can be a very scary thing, to leave what you know, and what you know to be at least ostensibly secure.
Yes. Well,
and step out into this creative field.
It is very, the biggest issue I had, what was holding me back the most, was my own fear. And because I said, well, I have been independent for so long, You know, I have known to have, like, I have my own paycheck. I could buy my own stuff, even though I didn't really buy all that much. But knowing that mentally I have that freedom,
Right.
it was a fear. I said, what am I going to do? So for a while, that's the reason why I didn't do it. Then after a while, I said, well, if that's the issue, I could just save money. And, luckily my husband is very supportive. So I was like, okay, so then that takes that fear away. Now I have kids. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm not going to have the time, blah, 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 blah. And
Right.
every excuse you can think of, I had. And then I realized that I was going on movie shoots or commercial shoots, and suddenly my daughter can come with me, or she will be a part of the shoot,
Right.
or my son, or my family, and I would work a few days, and I would spend the rest with them, but I didn't because I was at my 9 to 5. And I said, well, I could spend more time with my kids if I'm really doing this other career. So I started to think of any type of career, it's a job. Whether I'm in a 9 to 5
That's right.
or whether I'm acting and I'm on and off, it's a job. So I'm still going to have to do something. I'm still going to be out of the house. Unless your plan is to transition from a full-time job to being a stay-at-home mom, I shall warn you, it's a lot more work than you think.
It's so much more.
It's a lot more work. You'd be better off getting a job for mental freedom for that vacation. But so I planned, first I saved money just so that I can say, well, we're not going to just be struggling with my husband's salary. And even though we could be okay, in my mind, I have that safety blanket that, like, in case we need it, is there. And two, I started to think of whatever I do, I'm going to have to be out of the house. So office or non-office work, it's going to be work. And those two things help me a little bit get out of the comfort zone. And then also when you start aging, you start thinking like, okay, so if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it.
Yeah.
And last but not least, it was that I said, what do I want my kids to take from me as an example? I want them to see that they should fight for what they want as opposed to conforming to what other people want them to do. Society says you need to be this, so that's all you're going to do. No, that's really not it. For me, it was stepping out of what my family wanted me to do and into what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So, that part took a little bit of time, and, it goes really, like, you get really sad, you get really depressed before you can come back up. So I won't lie and say when I realized that I needed to make that career change,
Yes.
I was depressed. Nothing makes sense. I was so, I honestly couldn't find any reason, any meaning to anything I was doing. And it was rough. And that's another thing that people don't talk about.
Not at all.
And I said, I would complain every day. I would say, well, I'm not acting because my parents forced me to do this. I'm not acting because I won't have the money. I'm not acting because I don't have the looks. I'm not acting because I'm in the wrong city. And then one day I woke up and I said, well, I'm tired of complaining. And those are all the reasons why I got here. But what I do moving forward is totally my fault. So
That makes sense.
But it took years. Coming out of that deep sadness takes a long time, and you have to work on it every day, every single day.
What did you do to bring yourself out of that sadness?
I would write a lot. I would write to myself. I would write when I was sad.
Okay.
And then when I was in a better mental state, I would read it and say, oh my God, I sound crazy. And I shouldn't do that again. But I would also write when I was very happy. Because then when I was very sad, I would read it and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I do have this thing going for me.
Right.
And I started this routine that at the January 1st, I would write all of my goals. And I stopped giving myself goals that were too big because I would never be able to achieve them. So if I would say, like, I'm going to be the lead in this big blockbuster movie by the end of the year.
Okay.
Comes December 31st, I'm going to be like, well, I totally failed. So instead of doing that, I said, this is my end goal. So at the beginning of the year, I'm gonna remind myself what my goals are, and at the end of the year, I'm gonna say, okay, this is everything I did to be a step closer to that goal. So I started to hold myself a little less responsible for the big picture.
Yes.
And giving myself a break and saying, okay, as long as I'm moving forward, I'm going to be okay. So my goal is to finish the year better than I started.
That's powerful. You know, there's this woman who is just, she's also phenomenal, and her name is Allie Brown. And I've watched a lot of her evolution. And one of the things that she says is, just as an entrepreneur or any, like you said, it's all work.
Yes.
But she says, think about, like, each day, think about the very best thing that you can do to get yourself to your goal. What's the thing that you need to do that particular day to get you to that next step? Mm-hmm. And Bishop T.D. Jakes kind of talks about that as well. But to me, it's such a smart thing, because I think oftentimes as women, we have these lists. I'm not a list person, but I know many women that have
I have so many lists
that have these lists, and you know, and it's very daunting for them, and they get discouraged easily because they're not accomplishing, you know, they're not being able to check, you know, all of these things off of the list. And so I think it's just really smart what Allie has talked about in terms of, okay, this is, like you said, this is my end goal. So what do I need to do today?
Yes.
Just today, not the entire list, but what do I need to do today that's going to get me that much closer? And to me, that it's just it's easier to process that.
You feel a little bit more accomplished when you do that. And I think that that's what helped me feel a little better about the transition, because, you know, I went from I want to be an actress to, okay, I want to be an actress. So what did I do this year to bring me closer? Oh, I got an agent. Oh, I was in 3 independent films. Oh, I was in a commercial. Okay, so I'm not in the Jennifer Lawrence paycheck yet, but I'm definitely getting closer because I had this that I didn't have a year ago. You know, so for me this year, I moved to LA. Look, that's the biggest checklist.
That's a huge check.
That's the biggest one on the list. So, you know, even if things the rest of the year don't go as well, I told my husband, I feel like the big things that could happen this year, God's like, take a break. Nothing else is going to happen because you had a lot of big things happen. But when January comes, then we start the list again.
Yes.
So, you know, I still do that because you can easily go back, especially when you're in the transition, you can easily go back to feeling like, you know, there's no purpose, there's no point. And you have to be your own cheerleader.
I believe that.
You have to be like, I could do this and I'm going to do this even if no one cares. That's kind of how the videos are. That I couldn't figure out. I'm like, I'm going to do this even if no one cares. It's for me. You know, and it turns out that when I have that mentality, it turns out better than when I'm doing it for other people. And my personality is I'm always trying to do what other people expect me to do. And I think as moms, that's what we all do.
Yeah.
As women, that's what we do. Like when someone harasses you, we say, I'm sorry. Why? Why?
Right.
You harass me and I got to say, I'm sorry? You know, but we feel bad saying, no, I really don't want to talk to you. I'm sorry.
Yes.
You're like, it's not my fault. But we always
I don't want to talk to you.
Right. But we always feel like we need to please the other person. So that's something that, again, we all need to work, even if it's career, marriage, it doesn't matter what it is. Are you happy with it? And if you're happy with it, then, you know, okay.
Say that.
Call your mom, maybe, but your mom is not always going to know the right thing.
Listen. Mom, I know you're listening, and you don't always know. But,
yes.
But yeah, it's the truth. I mean, sometimes it's, you know, you just have to, sometimes I say, you know, it's just me and God. I just have to figure it out.
Yes.
Pray about it.
Yes.
And figure out what my next move is going to be and be led in that way. And I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to a place, because I would say that I was always concerned about pleasing, like, oh, I want people to like me. And yeah, I don't know if it's just age, but I've moved past that point
It could be.
of really caring about, that sort of thing. I think it just has something to do with age, for me at least.
Yeah, I think it goes together. You learn through experience and you go through a mental shift. For me, it was feeling like living a life that someone else wanted me to live made me so sad that I started breaking that shell.
Yes.
And the first step was actually my hair. And I said, I used to relax my hair.
Hair is a big thing for a woman.
It's a big thing. Especially for Dominicans, that we're like known for the round brush straightening. And, when I said, I'm just not going to like straighten my hair anymore, my mom is like, pero, like, what are you going to do? Like, can you comb your hair?
Yes.
I'm like, well, this is comb, mommy. So that was my first step of doing something that my mom didn't approve of. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's super crazy. Or like your mom says, you should really put socks on your kid, and you're like, no,
Right.
no, not today.
That's so, yeah. Moms, our moms, we as mothers have such a huge influence over our children's lives. But my mom is not a natural hair person, either. And her hair is so beautiful naturally. When I wear my hair natural, she's like, can you please flat iron your hair, do something.
Yes.
She wants me to straighten that stuff, but
mom is like, oh, you look beautiful anyway, baby. So when I show her a picture of my curly hair, she's like, oh, you look nice. When I show her a picture of straight hair, she's like, oh my God, you look amazing. And I'm like,
Right.
The reaction is a little different.
What does that mean?
That's nice. That's amazing. That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to stick with nice, mommy.
That's hilarious.
Oh yeah, we fight, but I love her. I had a friend that said like, why do you call your mom if you guys like are always yelling? And I was like, first of all, we're Latinas, we're not yelling. Second
This
of
is
all,
a discussion.
Yeah, I was like, second of
we're
all,
just talking.
because she's my mom. Like, she's my mom. Like, shut up. I call my mom. We're gonna fight, but that's okay. She's my mom.
Yeah.
Don't ever. That's like the biggest bond.
So talk about, gosh, it's so much with, you have your website.
Yes.
How can people find you? What kind of projects are of interest to you?
So I am pretty open to a lot of things. I realize that I am, I'll tell you what I do. Right? So my website is essentially my name, CindyFernandezNixon.com.
All one word.
All one word. And so on my website, you could find pictures, you could find my resume, you could find contact. You may find a link to different videos. And essentially, my website is a very professional acting website. Outside of that, I have my YouTube channel. And just recently, because we're still trying to figure this out, there's just so much. Just recently, I started linking the videos that you see on my Instagram.
Okay.
The longer version is on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Now, my YouTube channel is supposed to be, my brand is supposed to be, what people don't tell you, about whatever subject. So if it's about, I did a few videos about, birth. What people really don't tell you.
Listen, women are not honest.
No, they're not.
About pregnancy and childbirth.
Let me tell you about the horror stories that they tell you. And when you're pregnant, people give you all this unwanted advice. So
yes.
So I started linking now my blog with YouTube, with Instagram. Before, I had them all kind of separate.
Right.
But I started bringing them together so they would kind of have the subject. And then as I'm learning what my brand is, which is like a very blunt mom, and blunt.
Oh, you are unfiltered. Just I love it.
Right. And it's relatable because a lot of the times someone's waiting for someone to say it, for them to say like, amen. Yes, I know that. And so that's what I want to do because that's what I know about. So my blog YouTube, Instagram, and then you find like other like Pinterest and stuff like that. But I'm not really too focused on that.
Okay.
Instagram is just essentially like a copy of. Twitter is a copy of my Instagram.
Okay.
You know? So everything on social media is Cindy Fernix. And YouTube is youtube.com/Cindy Fernandez Nixon, just like my website.
Okay.
But so what you find me do on my free time is being that blunt mom, with the twist of sarcasm and funny, you know, because
Yes.
as moms, we master sarcasm way too soon. That's the first thing you know. When you're giving birth and they say like, oh, let's just check you. And you're, oh, you want to check me again? Okay. Oh, and when they ask me, so we have all these doctors and nurses are going to come in, and we have 3 family members. Can you tell us which one do you want to leave the room? And you're like, well, everyone I don't know. But since that's not an option, I guess maybe 2 or 3 of my family members can go. I don't know. It's like you're asking me to ask the wrong people to leave. Like, so you master sarcasm a little too soon. Outside of that, I do commercials. I do movies, either short film or independent feature films.
Yes.
And I'm trying to think. I've done print jobs, and that's more on the big corporate film industry.
Right.
And yeah. So I've been a producer for some of them, and I did radio for a long time, for 7 years.
Yes.
I loved it. So I'll probably look into getting into that here in LA. I'm just learning the ropes in LA and how things work, but
Learning
that's
the
something I would
terrain.
do. Yes. Yeah. Well, I don't know how it works here to get in the radio, but I'll ask you tons of questions later.
We can talk off air.
Yeah, but yeah. So I've been an MC for events. I've been a radio host. I've been a producer, and that's all behind the camera and in front of the camera. So
Which do you prefer?
I think I like both. I like radio because I can just be myself. But I like film because I can pretend to be someone else for a little bit. And radio and my personal videos are kind of like on the same level. I can express myself a little more
Right.
than something scripted. But what pays the bills is the big productions. So I like that too. I do like the behind the scenes because when I'm working on a big production, I understand, you know, what the light person's going through, what the audio person's going
Right.
through. And it's so important to work with your team, you know, because the editor can make you look great or they can make you look really bad.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to know what the editor has to work with a lot of the time. So hit your mark 100% of the time so they don't have to move too much.
Yes. Yeah. So what kind of projects are coming up for you?
Right now, I'm doing a lot of promotions for things I did before I moved here.
Okay.
I just filmed a promo for a movie that's on Amazon that we actually filmed a couple of years ago. It's called Craig Quits His Day Job.
Nice.
It was funny. I was in the middle of getting ready to quit mine when we were doing
As
the
you were
movie.
doing this movie?
Yes.
Wow.
So it was a little bit before I quit because I was getting ready to leave my job and then I ended up pregnant. So I was like, oh, well, I'll just wait until after maternity leave. But this movie's about this guy that's stuck in a dead-end job and he doesn't know how to quit. So he goes to his boss, very mean boss, and he quits and she's like, no, you're not. So that was me. I was the mean boss. So we're doing promo for that. There's another movie on Amazon that's called Blood on the Leaves where I was the wife of a hunter. And then I cannot wait for this one to be finished. It's in the post-production. It's a series. It's called Living While Black. And
I saw that. Well, I haven't seen it, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw that in your materials. So.
Yes, and it's super exciting because it's a series about this. It's following the life of this girl who tells us the different experiences she had from people giving her the stereotypical thing about, oh, we just met your boyfriend. Oh, so is he a rapper or what? You know, or a basketball player. And
Right.
or people mispronouncing her name at work or just like little things here and there. And I was a therapist, so I get to talk to her in every episode about the different situations she encountered. But I think it's a very interesting view, because just like there isn't enough work by women for women, there isn't enough minority work by minority work for work. I mean, for minority by minorities.
Yes.
If that makes any sense.
That makes sense.
So, we typically get what other people think we're feeling. And you don't know what we're feeling unless you are us.
Right.
So for me, that project was very, very, very interesting. And then I worked on here a project. It's an independent small project. And she did different short stories. And I think I did post about that one. It's currently on YouTube. And it's just different little short stories about struggles that I guess as a single woman, she wrote about. So, yeah, that was that. So, but everything should be either on my Instagram or on my, Instagram and Facebook, and then my CindyFernandezNixon.com.
Okay, so give us your social media handles. So I know the website is CindyFernandezNixon.com.
Yes.
Check her out there. And your social media?
Instagram and Twitter is Cindy Fernix. Cindy Fer, Fernix.
That's for Fernandez Nixon.
Yes. And then on Facebook, you can find me under Cindy Fernandez Nixon. And YouTube is youtube.com, Cindy Fernandez Nixon. So if you just Google Cindy Fernandez Nixon, it should come up. All of it.
I love it. I love it. It was so much fun having you here in studio.
Thank you so much for having me.
We have to do this again.
Yes.
And to my son in New York, I'm coming back, and you better not go out to a party.
Take her to the party or reserve her a spa. Oh,
that would be nice. That would be nice. I'm coming back to New York.
Thank you.
Have a great week, everybody. Thank you so much for listening.